Okay, hey, and welcome to the Co-Cast. How you doing, Martin?
I'm great, thank you, Rasmus. How are you?
Also good. This feels a bit strange to be recording myself and looking at myself while I'm recording myself, but uh, hey, new things, right?
Yeah, I think this feels stiff and I don't know pre-rehearsed, although we didn't rehearse it.
Yeah, exactly. That strange feeling of being watched, although no one is watching.
Yeah. All right. So, what are
Okay.
we talking about today?
Right, I thought we'd introduce the Co-Cast, right?
Yeah.
And what this is, and how we're thinking about co-created podcasts, which is where we get the awesome name from, right? A co-cast, very creative. Um, and yeah, and introducing ourselves and kind of what it will be about, and then hopefully the episode will actually be kept. Otherwise, we are talking into the void, but that's
Yeah.
fine. At least we'll have a conversation. I think we'll learn a
Yeah.
bunch.
And we have a question for each episode, right? According to
Yeah,
the
exactly.
to the brief. So, what's the question
Yeah.
for today?
So can we create a podcast? Sorry, can we co-create a podcast? Is it
Oh,
possible to do that not
yeah.
only as us sort of saying, hey, we're going to talk about things and you're going to listen, but maybe have something that's more participatory, where
Yeah.
both our community and listeners can actually be part of it and contribute in meaningful ways.
And sort of that distinction that you just made, difference between create and co-create, is sort of the the big question that we hope to answer over the next year or years, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just diving into creation and like what that means from a personal point of view, and like how we define it, which might be different from the way people use it normally. It's going to be really interesting. But I thought maybe it makes sense for us to sort of introduce ourselves first, and then maybe dive
Mm.
into kind of the co-creation part of it and what we hope to achieve. So, Martin, do you want to start?
All right. Yes. So I'm Martin Källström in Swedish. I am from Sweden. I live 2 hours south of Stockholm. I've been an entrepreneur and founder and mostly CEO of companies for the past 15 years, traveling a lot, US, building offices for my companies in New York, San Francisco, and then also East, being entrepreneur in residence at a Singapore and Bangkok based VC company. And now I'm the uh, chief of product and interim CMO of Multiply together with you, Rasmus.
Right.
So, who are you?
Yeah, good question. Right, that that takes us in a completely different direction, right?
Yeah,
But in terms of who I am, in terms of what my life has looked like, maybe makes sense to start with.
yeah, sure.
So yeah, I mean, same. I think like it's pretty funny because I think we have, not similar, but definitely similar enough biographies. Just that mine is shorter. So because you are old. Um,
Yeah,
no kidding. No, but really, since I studied in London, and then instead of going kind of the route that I thought was for me, which was like kind of banking, management, consulting, I was very swept up with that kind of mindset when I was there. Um, I started my first company also very early, like at 22, and that grew very quickly. So it was kind of a crash course in everything from launching to scaling to making every mistake in the book basically. But turning out all right. We sold it, had a nice exit in the end, and then started another company which we also sold. Different spaces. First one was fintech, and second one was kind of fitness tech. And then I've been very sort of curious and interested in, yeah, I guess co-creation is the word I would use nowadays. I've used different words during the years, but basically how I and other people can sort of coexist in a way where we, make things happen together, and where it's something that is not completely predefined, but which is exploratory, and which really works. And I've had those experiences both privately and professionally. So I guess this is kind of this podcast is where maybe I hope to communicate a bunch of the things that I've thought about throughout the years. So yeah, currently CEO and founder together with Martin and a couple of more people at Multiply.
Oscar and Henrik.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think they will be guests? Yeah, I was going to say so. Yeah. They should be guests as well on the podcast. Yeah.
Oscar will definitely love to be a guest.
And how would that work? Like, if they are guests, will you and I both be hosts, or will one step out and sort of host when we have guests?
I mean, I don't know, right? On the topic of co-creation, we'll just have to see how we do with this, right?
Sure.
But I sort of like it's fine to be 3 people in a podcast. I listen to like podcasts with more than that as well.
Yeah. Makes sense.
As long as there's a conversation, I think.
And maybe there is that the conversation will be more lively if we are 3 people talking than just 2. Or how that... Yeah, so it's a thing to explore on its own, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think maybe something that's cool to go into, since we'll sort of move into what this podcast will be about, is just co-creation, and like, which is a word that we've both sort of centered a lot of our lives around. I think Martin, you and I especially. Like, do you want to talk about what that means for you, and like how sort of that's become a part of your life?
Yeah, because co-creation quite literally means to me to create with others, together with others, and that's been all that I've been doing for my entire adult life, striving for those moments of flow when I really feel I'm creating together with others. Being creative, having creativity as the driving force of everything I do is what I try to achieve. And doing that together with people that are sometimes like-minded, sometimes have completely different perspectives, allows me to grow and learn and create something that is so much bigger than only who I am and what I could achieve on my own. So that's co-creation for me.
Right, and has that taken like any specific sort of? I mean, I don't know how private you want to go in this, right? And what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
But you can be vague or specific, right? But like, does it have do you have any, I guess, experiences to sort of emphasize or like to talk about, to just bring it, like, because co-creation can be quite, abstract, and I think it's if we're going to do this, I think we probably need to bring it down to earth and like what do we mean, and like what does it look like, and and how is it important for us, like in our actual lives.
So to me it's really high and low, like we super mundane everyday work to me is co-creation, and even just renovating the house together with my partner or family, or making a dinner is co-creation to me, because I want to get into that flow where I together with other people build on top of each other's skills and leave room, like consciously leave space for co-creation to happen, in the sense that I don't know what the outcome is going to be when I start, because there are other people involved. So making a dinner, I bring lemon and thyme to spice up the chicken, and all of a sudden, like with a completely different mix of ingredients, someone is changing that around to what I didn't expect, and then going all the way up to, for example, how we started Multiply, right, where we've iterated a lot over the core of the business idea, and we've co-created it together with everybody that's been involved, like no matter how briefly. I'm thinking about how even like your friend Adam, when we worked together to just form the brand of Multiply, like that was one thing that I really enjoyed, in the sense that the unexpected came through, and just the way you bring me onto the this podcast now, we're evolving the concept as we go, and that's the point. We're co-creating a podcast about co-creation. So there's so many examples, and literally everything I do. I want to have a co-creative aspect.
Cool, thank you. By the way, his name is Alex. I think credit should be
Oh,
due.
sorry,
No worries.
sorry, Alex.
We'll see if he listens to this.
That yes. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
And what
No,
about
that's
you?
fine.
What about you, Rasmus?
No, it's fun. You stole a couple of my examples, and
Oh, really?
but I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try to take another ones. But especially with regards to multiply. But with this podcast, actually, you were the one who said like a year or so ago, maybe we should start a podcast. Maybe more than that. And then I just sort of brought it back to life now because I had some inspiration. So definitely a co-initiation of this. Right. I think actually with just to dive a little bit deeper into sort of the company we're building, which is currently very, very secret. We'll tell you more soon. It's in so-called stealth mode, which sounds quite cool and quite uncool at the same time, I think. But yeah, so I think because it's interesting, I started companies before, and I would say that like in both those examples, I've been quite a strong lead in terms of, I guess, why we're doing what we're doing and what we're doing. On at least on the highest level, of course, like I haven't done anything alone, right? But what's very interesting from kind of a deeply co-creative kind of element of building Multiply is that, I mean, I'd say the vision in some ways are unchanged, like what we want to do in very, very high level, which we came around to do, which makes sense, right? Because that's what we want to do. But what we're actually building has really evolved. You know, it contains elements of, I guess, what I first pitched to you, Martin. But like, you know, some significant elements, but the way we're approaching it and now the product vision is not something like, at least, you know, we had in our discussions when we started this. And a lot of it came from you and Henrik and Oscar. And like, there's been really a lot of contributors to that, which is quite, I think, coming back to sort of the definition of co-creation, at least for me, is like one of the core things is what kind of some people call evolutionary purpose, which is like what you're doing is up for question and why you're doing it. And that's quite different from kind of a traditional organization, like especially more hierarchical structures where the goal is set and everything is set. And now it's just about, you know, okay, you can, you know, create within your little box. Here's your box. Have fun. And I'm not saying that's wrong or anything. You know, a lot of things have been accomplished that way. And I think hierarchical makes sense in like different situations. Reinventing organizations, the book is really like good at describing those different types of contexts, I think.
So is it from there, that phrase, evolutionary purpose, is that from reinventing organizations?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if he coined it, but I think it was, what's it called? Frederick Laloux. I think he coined it.
All right. Perhaps that's something we can bring on a guest to talk about, evolutionary purpose.
Yeah.
That sounds super
Yeah,
exciting.
let's bring him on. Let's bring Frederick Laloux on.
Yeah,
That would be cool, actually.
That would be awesome.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would do it. But yeah, anyhow, to back that, so that's one of the things, right? But for me, like co-creation is sort of like, it's not only collaboration, which is like, hey, here's a goal, now we work towards that goal, but it's also like, hey, we are two people here, or companies, or entities, or could even be whatever, but two entities of some sort, having their own goals and motivations, right? But deciding to do something together that allows for those individual drives and motivations to exist at the same time. So you could, you know, it's like, you know, dancing. It's fun if the other person is also dancing, right? So you can dance together. If you're the only person dancing, or if you're like forcing the other person somewhere all the time, or if you've already decided exactly the choreography, I mean, that can also be cool, right? That can be a show, that's something else. But if you're just dancing together, and I think, like in my experience, the results are also like quite astonishing in what kind of creativity you allow, and the motivation it creates, and kind of the relationships and community it builds. So, yeah, that's a short briefer. I think we'll dive into co-creation from first principles in other episodes. But yeah, short from me at least.
Very cool.
But right, so back to this co-cast. What do you what do you hope to sort of do with this? If you would describe it in your words, what we're trying to do here, and like, how would you say?
So to me, what is top of mind for me is to really stay in the moment, like bring everything we are genuinely into the podcast, and plan just enough, like plan without planning. So bring something with us into each episode, an intention perhaps, and some nuggets of, research or ideas, but then allow the unexpected to happen in each recording, in each episode, to be equally amazed about what happens together with guests or just you and me, as hopefully the listeners are, and discover and explore, and so that none of us have an expectation that takes precedence over what happens in each episode. That's what I hope to achieve foremost, and then and that's only like what's top of mind for me right now. If I bounce that back to you, what are your hopes and dreams for the co-cast?
First of all, I need to close the window because
really?
My mother just came to try to recruit me to take my daughter. We're going to finish this first, and then I'm going to join in Papa time.
Yeah.
I think I fully agree. I mean, I think co-creation happens in the moment, right? It's about, at least for me, it's been a lot of learning to listen and like participate and sort of be responsive to what happens. I'm really hoping for that together with you and others. And then I have this kind of, I guess, more on an idea level that I think it should be possible for podcasts to move from a little bit like what mainstream media was, right? You know, it's broadcast media that, you know, we talk and we broadcast to other people and move to something more participatory, both in terms of feeding relevant information and perspectives into the creation of the episodes, so say maybe the briefs, but also engaging listeners during the episodes, perhaps with questions, and allowing each episode to be kind of exploratory, so that we don't come in with like a packaged kind of idea we want to sell, but that we actually allow like our own exploration. So maybe you'll notice this, by the way, like I changed my mind during an episode. So maybe I start somewhere and then I end up somewhere else. And I think that would be really cool if we can, both before, during, and after episodes, like be co-creative with listeners and I guess the Multiply community that we're building. So that would be really, really cool, and something we'll have to explore and improve on, right? So not making any promises now, but that would be at least my intention.
Awesome. All right. I feel like perhaps we should wrap it up right there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think so. I had something else in mind, but let's save it for another episode. I think this was good. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this.
All right. So, and to anyone who listens to this right now or down the line, years ahead from now, feel free to get in touch if you want to be on the co-cast, or if you have ideas for what we should talk about. Just let us know.
Yeah. And maybe at hello@multiply.co, right? Should we do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
hello@multiply.
And we'll add.
Should we have like an email address just for co-cast?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. But right now.
But we'll not right now. It's enough. We'll have stuff.
All right. I also, Rasmus, I just want to say like a big thank you for, like, right now you're taking the initiative to making this podcast happen. I'm super happy about that. So let's give this a lot of energy. I'm energized just from this episode. Excited to see
the 10 burpees beforehand, right?
That too.
Did you do them? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and let's share this with at least some people. Let's share this like straight away, at least with the team, and see what people feel like.
Yes,
and get some feedback. Definitely. And stuff.
No, I say let's put it on Spotify right now.
Okay, yeah, do it. I mean,
all right.
Yeah,
but
cool.
But
have a great weekend, Martin, and to all the listeners out there, this has been the co-cast. can't stay serious in this entity.
I'm happy about that.
Cut it out if you want to.
Yes. All right. See you.
See you later.